Welcome back to SpeakPact. We have Mikki Williams in the house today, and I am just super excited to talk with you. First of all, you are a lot of fun. We've had conversations before, and you've really made an incredible career in with your voice, with the power of your voice. So I would love to follow your journey, Mikki. And I can read through your very long bio. I'm going to hit some highlights. I think more of it's going to come out as we speak, but really, the presence that you bring and the insights that you bring to the table really speak for themselves. So you have won the prestigious Hall of Fame, Speaker Hall of Fame, which is no small achievement. That's pretty amazing. You've spoken on TEDx stages. You are not you're also a certified speaker. You're not somebody who's just decided that you have a talent for it, but you've actually studied and honed your craft and really perfected it. I know you've been involved with the bigger organizations for years. Some you're still with, some you've decided to move on from, and maybe we can tap into that just a little bit. What are some of your favorite places, especially for emerging new voices? You have been in meetings or spoken alongside big influencer names, Bill Gates, Tony Robbins, Lou, just some small names, right? Lou Holtz. You've been featured in the Meeting and Conventions magazine. The list goes on. And I'm just really impressed that one of the things I really love about you, Mikki, one of the many things, is that you've never compromised your style, your authenticity. So talk to me about the early beginnings. Who was Mikki when nobody knew your name, and what started this whole journey for you?
That's a great question because who was Mickey has to go all the way back to my childhood. I won't go there, but I will tell you I was raised by a single mom who just told me that I could accomplish whatever I wanted to, and I was fine who I was. So I was an outlier even as a young child. When everybody smoked, I didn't. When everybody dressed a certain way, which they do in high school, I didn't. So that was nurtured from nature and nurture very early in my life, and I got very comfortable with it and confident with it. And it's been a topic that's seen me through every single career that I have. People ask that. But you know, the interesting thing that ties it all together, Antoinette, is that when people say, what is the one thing? It goes back to like the movie City Slickers, when they asked Billy Crystal, what is that one thing? The one
Right.
thing that I would tell everybody who was an emerging speaker is authenticity, which is something you can't fake. I'm the same person off stage as I am on stage. And let me say, it's not been a smooth ride because there's a lot of judgment. I say I'm the same victim of discrimination as people are with their ethnicity and their religion. I've been the victim, if I hate to use that word, or I should say the survivor of discrimination against my outrageousness. I've just lived outside the box my whole life and not fit into any kind of career that I've had. And I've had nine, and I've never fit in the box. So that's my first piece of advice. Whoever you are, however you dress, whatever you sound like, bring it.
I look at you as the victor, right? Not the victim.
Yeah.
And sometimes those pushbacks really just solidify who we really are, right? If you just
That's
can't
right.
help but be yourself,
Yeah.
then why? Well, then why? Then why try to fit into leopard skins when you're a lion, right? Or whatever it might be. To help the journey that you've had, what would the Mikki today? What piece of advice would the Mikki today have given that Mikki in the early years?
You know, I'm sure I made lots of mistakes. I'd rather just answer that question with probably three of the things that I get asked a lot about. What are those success tools early on? One
Right.
is absolutely tenacity. To me, the word no means not now. It's like I'm calling you till you die or I do. So it's tenacity. Number two is early organization. I paid a consultant when I had absolutely no money. I had to borrow the money and overnight it to this person. And it was probably one of the most worthwhile investments I made because he saved me so much time and by showing me the systems that I would need to grow as a speaker. So the tenacity and organization. And the other thing is I'm a goal oriented person. So I was very clear what I want to accomplish in those first 5 years. And when I have that goal, the tenacity in me, I had a one liner in my one woman show. What's the difference between a Jewish mother and a Rottweiler? Do you know, Antoinette?
They're both pit bulls.
No. A Jewish mother will eventually let go. A Rottweiler will eventually let go.
Oh, that's great.
So I am, yeah, I've got this tenacity about me, but it comes from a lot of early tragedy and defining moments in my life that made me who I am, circumstances that almost everybody has. But I would say those three factors, tenacity, organization, and goal setting really help serve me almost in all my businesses, but especially in speaking.
Foundational, right?
Yeah,
Everybody's looking for that magic something, that magic
so
thing.
true.
And it really comes back to that tenacity, don't give up, and don't think it's just going to happen. It takes some elbow grease.
A lot of rejection.
Get organized and
Yes.
bring in the reinforcements, right? Figure out who can come, you can come alongside, or who can come alongside you and help you on that journey, and set some targets, right? If you do the whole thing we've always heard, if you don't have a target, you're not going to, how are you going to hit it?
Yeah.
Right? Those are so foundational. But for somebody who has really made it in the speaking industry, you can say, as an insider insight, right? That's what it takes to get to where you are.
Yeah, just a short little anecdote to emphasize that. I'm on a network of speakers, and and these are all pretty much emerging speakers trying to make an inroad in a big organization, and they're all writing in about what's the secret? How do you do it? Do I take the client out to dinner? Do I send them this afterwards? And I'm reading it and reading it, and finally I just hit a boiling point, and I wrote in and I said, you know what? I'd be happy to host a complimentary Zoom all of you with this question because I have the answer to that. So about 38 people show up. They're all leaning in for that magic bullet. And I say, here it is. Again, it's one thing: have a killer speech. That's it. If you have a killer speech, everyone's going to want you afterwards. It doesn't matter what gifts you bring before or after, or who you take to dinner, or what letter you write, or what marketing ploy you use. Just have that one great speech, because that's what I had when I started. I had one great speech that kept leveraging and catapulting and moving on. And after I saw what was happening and then I got established, I started developing my other topics. But people either dilute what they're doing or they do all these other things without focusing on the one thing they need: the great speech.
Okay, right on, right on. And you have, I don't know, you just have this magnetism about you. You've got a great personality. You
Thank
can
you.
connect with people. I find that a great speech, the average newer, especially emerging speaker, thinks it's all about the content.
Oh,
We know it's all about the connection, right? How did you get that piece where you
you know,
started connecting with your audiences?
another great insight, because a lot of times people, if you quote Peter Drucker, content, and I modified it where instead of content, I put delivery eats content for breakfast.
Ooh,
Because everybody thinks it's content, and you could have all the great content in the world, but if you can't deliver it in the most palatable or understandable way, all that content is wasted. And I know that from all my coaching clients. They all come with great content and they suck at delivery. And it's not about personality, because someone could say to me, just as you did, and thank you for that compliment, well, you're fine, you've got a great personality. Well, you take every performer who's on stage, they have a great personality. Most of them off stage are introverts or have no personality. So if you're going into a career that's speaking, then on stage you can't use that as an excuse.
ah, so good. Yes, and I love your quote. We're going to quote you on this. Delivery eats content for breakfast.
Yes,
Mickey
I
Williams.
paraphrase Peter Drucker, who had the original quote.
Okay, Peter Drucker via
Yes,
Peter Drucker.
yeah, I
That's
paraphrased him.
fabulous.
Yes.
Okay, so how did you grow thicker skin? Like, how were you okay with the criticism, and maybe you didn't look the part, you don't look like a white man in a business suit, right? How did you step into your authentic self and be okay, I guess, be okay with the pushback that you might have received along the way?
That's a big question with a lot of answers to it. I'll give you one tactical one that everyone could take away. In big letters, put a sign on your desk: SW, 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 SW. And every time you get rejected or every time you feel like you're not making forward, the actual words to those are some will, some won't, so what, someone's waiting.
Some will, some won't.
So
So
what?
what?
So what?
Someone's waiting. Ah,
Yes.
that's fabulous.
And
Yeah.
it's a daily reminder of every single person who says no, you're just getting closer to a yes. And again, that tenacity plays a role in it. And also confidence in your own ability. When you have that great speech and you know it is because you've got what we call social proof, you've given it, people love it, you get work from it. I coach a lot of people now, and I get some people who say, I've been working for this organization and I get no jobs from it. Okay, well then you suck. Go back to the drawing board. It's your speech. It's not the organization. It's not COVID. It's not the economy. It's you.
I love that. Okay. No, so good. Like there's always going to be something. There's always going to be a good
Yes.
reason why not to succeed.
Or a
There
good
will always,
excuse. Or a
yes,
good excuse. Yes.
yes, which we'll tell ourselves is a reason, right? But you're exactly
Yeah.
right. It is an
Yeah.
excuse. We all, I've seen people with no arms and no legs getting up there and dancing on stages,
Of
right?
course.
That proved nobody would have faulted that human being if they said, "Oh, I can't." What do you, me dance on stage? What are you kidding? Look, it's that's it, right? But that's that. No, no excuses. If it's something
No,
you know you want, yeah,
yes. The other thing that I've shared with people, a lot of speakers at all levels don't want to do the marketing. They just want to speak. Well, you have to understand, you're not a speaker running a business. You're a business person who happens to be speaking. And that's a mental shift that I've had throughout my careers. I had a dance studio. I wasn't a dancer running a business. I was a business person running a dance studio. And when you get that psychological shift, I don't care what you are, you realize that your great talent or your creative service is not viable unless it's marketed and you learn business. Now, then I get everybody who says, well, I'm not a good business person. I don't like doing that. You have three choices. This is it: learn it, hire it, or delegate it. Those are your only three choices. If you want to
that's
market your business, that's it: learn it, hire it, or delegate it. In
this
my
is
experience.
such a key point. I'm so glad you said it. You said it, right? So many speakers don't get this part that it is a business. They think, okay, I'm fabulous. I've got this great message that will change the world.
Yes.
And I have these accolades for whatever accolades they may have won, a pro athlete, well, whatever. So I should get hired to speak.
Yeah.
You can't buy a franchise and expect it just to happen. There's work that goes into it, right?
Exactly.
And speaking is a business, and there's that goes right back to your other foundational piece, the organization
Yeah.
side of it, and bringing in the consultants that you need. You invest in yourself and in your talk and in the process,
Yes.
and you will succeed. So I love that you brought the business side up on it, because we don't into this conversation, because we really haven't tackled that on this podcast yet.
Yeah. And the biggest challenge that I see for speakers, I was just sharing that with someone this morning. Because we know how to talk, it's a God given resource. We assume we know how to speak. Talking is a God given human resource, and speaking is a craft that I've worked at for 35 years. But that is the challenge that most people face. They get up, they wing it, which is horrible. That's a dirty word to me. They think they're fabulous. The audience can't follow them because there's no underlying structure. The person I met this morning said, what do you mean structure? He's a world famous doctor and lectures all over the world all the time. He said, I always go over my time limit. And I said, because you don't have a structure. And he looked at me like I had four heads. I said, it's a craft. I run a 3-day speaker school, and people come and they're blown away by all the skills that are involved with the craft. They had no idea. Up to
Yeah.
that point, they were good talkers.
So that's front of stage, right? When you're actually on the stage. But
Yes.
speak to all the work that it took to get to the stage. That's that's the foundational part of a business, right? We owned a paint contracting company for about 40 years, and people would call us all the time to fix the mess that they had made, right? They just figured they could pick up a paint brush and start painting. That's the easy part. The hard part is all the prep work, everything that has to happen to make the job a good job. And same with the speaking business. Yes, get your craft down, get your presentation style down, get that talk down. But what does it take before even stepping on the stage?
There's again great questions because there's a lot of components to that. It's not a simple answer. It's, somebody asked me a question very early in my career, pre-career practically. They said, "What do you know that an audience will pay to hear?" And that is a pivotal question because, in my experience, a lot of the speakers that I coach, emerging speakers, come with that. I'm going to speak on this because I love this topic. Well, who's going to pay for it? Is there a need for it? In what marketplace? Where's your credibility? So, when you start to look at who's going to buy it, are you trying to market to an industry that is not interested in your topic, as opposed to what Buddha said, bloom where you're planted? If you have experience as an engineer, we'll start speaking in that field or related fields. So there's a real science to the marketing side of this, as well as and developing the business and just developing that great speech. While you're developing the great speech, you should also be developing the great business and all the aspects that go with business.
Yeah. So when you first started, did you just start dialing for dollars, or
Oh, absolutely.
how did you break into those first couple of talks?
I think, like anyone, I probably did, but I went back to who I'd done business with before, so I had some credibility. I looked at the industry I was in. At the time I started speaking, because I've had 7 different companies, I was in the fitness industry, and I was trying to market myself to the major corporations, and I realized I was having a challenge. So I went back to bloom where you're planted. Fitness industry, but not as a club owner, coming in now as an expert in knowing the industry with a topic of value to them. Once I honed my skills in that industry where where I was comfortable, where I had credibility, I was able to springboard and leverage that into the kind of industries that I wanted to go into. And when I say the industries I wanted to go into, Antoinette, part of it was who can afford me? What industries do I want to be in? Do I want to travel? There were lots of factors to help me, but again, I have great clarity around my goals and what I wanted to do. My first 3 years were all international speaking because I wanted to see the world, and I made that happen. My 5 year goal was to make a 6 figure income at that time. We're talking in the 80s, right? So that was a lot.
It was a big deal. Yeah.
Yeah. And to earn my CSP, my certified speaking professional, and to have hit every continent while speaking. And I achieved that. And then it's on to the next goals. And then it's on to the next fee level. Then it's on to well, I've outgrown that industry. Now I could go to this industry. So it's really very, very deliberate on how I grew that career.
Okay, so this is so good. Oh my goodness, Mickey. Okay, so I have a quote. Start
Okay.
with what you know and then grow. And then I have
Absolutely.
a follow-up quote. Start with who you know and then grow. Just our own phone book, right? We
Yes.
know people who are working in corporations or working for organizations that might need a speaker. Start with what and who you know, and it expands from there. And you somehow instinctively got that early on. And brilliant. I'm so glad. So before I have two last questions for you.
Just to piggyback on that, because
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a great thing that you just shared, and I love your little quote. In the multi-level marketing industry, they ask you, because I did that too for a little while, they ask you to make a top 100 list of all the people you know, and another list of all the companies that they ask you to make a list of 100 people you know. I copied that with make a list of the 100 companies you want to speak to,
Hmm.
and then from there start networking in those industries, or look at the people who you know that might be connected to that industry, or know someone who knows someone who knows someone. So that was another way that I got to all the dream companies and the countries that I wanted to go to, based off your just great quote, which I'll also use.
You know what we're gonna do? This is gonna be so fun. We're gonna create a little downloadable, And it'll
Okay.
be Mickey Williams downloadable, right? The top 100, top 100, top 100, these three top 100s. And we'll link it when the pretty version. This is the live version that we're doing right now, but when the finished version comes
Are
out,
you saying I'm
well,
not pretty now because it's live?
we are live and raw. So that's it's really as simple and foundational as that.
Yeah.
It's just we want to skip over the simple and get the glam going, right? It's not
I love that you use the word foundational because with my 3-day speaker school, day one is billed as foundational. Thank you very much.
yay. Okay. Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about your workshops and the things the things that you offer speakers.
Yeah, well, I'm semi-retired from speaking. When I say semi-retired, I still do for certain clients or certain opportunities, or whether it's to donate to my foundation or whether it's a good speaking gig, for pay, whatever it is. But that's not my focus now. My focus now is helping people achieve the success I've had. So I run speaker schools. They're a 3-day school in Naples, Florida, twice a year in October and April. People come from all over. And I've been doing it for 30 years. They sell out because I keep it small, around 12 to 14 people. Day one is foundational, to quote you. Day two is dynamic delivery day, where they stand up and get coached on their stories and their speaking. And day three is how to run the business part of it. And then from there, I have coaching. So lots of times the speaker school people will go into coaching. Or my third one is called Keynote Camp. It's a 2-day one-on-one intensive where I actually design someone's entire speech.
Wow.
So those are the three things that occupy me the most, that I love right now at this stage of career and life, is just really helping others achieve the kind of success I have, whether they want to just travel the world, they want to just give back, they want to make an obscene amount of money. I don't care. I love helping.
Fabulous. Yeah, you've gotten to experience that speaker life. It was worth it,
Yes.
right? It was worth all that
Oh,
grind.
so much
Now
so.
you're passing it forward. I
Yeah,
love that. So
thank you.
we have our signature question. I'm going to ask you here in a moment, but before we do, I really want to know what drove you in the beginning, because I know that's what gets everyone over. That's what makes you tenacious. That's what makes you thicker skinned and in it for the long haul. Not not just it didn't work out. I guess I tried to reach out to 10 people. Nobody wanted me. So I guess I'll just walk away. What was it early on that you're like, no, this has to work? This just has to work.
Well, there's one generic
That
answer that will
driving
fit everybody.
force.
There's one generic answer that will fit everyone. There's two that were very personal to me. The generic one is that goal orientation. In every business I've had, I've set a goal and I work towards that goal incrementally, massively in some way. And when I get to it, I know it's time to move on. But that's me. So I believe the generic answer is set a goal for when you get your CSP, when you get in the Hall of Fame, when you get to travel the world, when you get to make X amount of dollars. Set the goal, keep it in front of you, and work towards it. The other two I said are personal to me. Uh, Two, failure is not an option for me, and I'll do whatever it takes to succeed because I'm driven by that type of momentum. And lastly, I was starting my speaking business when I was a victim of a Ponzi scheme and all my money was
Oh
stolen.
my goodness.
So I had to ramp up faster than most people, and I was midlife.
Wow. Wow, that's
Yeah,
probably a story.
yeah. There's lots of those.
Okay, so I fibbed. I have one more question before the
Hey,
signature question.
you're allowed.
What is your most kind of unique experience as a speaker, that kind of maybe a defining moment on your journey?
A defining moment is different than unique experience. So I'll take the unique experience
Okay.
first. I was on a tour and I spoke in Israel. And the last day of the Israeli tour, they took us out. There were about 4 Jeeps, a caravan of Jeeps. And we went into the Negev desert, which I thought was a great
I've
experience
been
and
there.
thought that was it, but it wasn't. Once we were way out in the desert where you couldn't even find a horizon, you're just a speck of humanity, like in the middle of an ocean. They stopped the Jeeps in front of a giant rock formation. We walked around it and they set a table with china, crystal, and tablecloths in the middle of the desert for our last meal before we departed.
Wow.
My going away gift was a picture of the table in the middle of the Israeli desert.
Wow. That's pretty stellar. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Okay, now defining.
Defining moment is, for me, it's the person who comes up to you and said, I was thinking of killing myself this morning, and I dragged myself here. And thank you for your message because now I have a purpose.
Wow.
How do you replace something like that?
Wow.
It was a high school boy, and I'll never forget. It was in Canada. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. It was just filled with bumps. And you know what? That really speaks to you being authentic to you. He probably would not have connected and related and been able to really receive anything from you if you were who you thought you needed to be on stage.
Well
Instead, you
said.
brought Mikki Williams, and that's what he he connected to. And you know, how dare us? And we all have egos. We all have a bit of vanity, and I don't know, maybe we put on 10 pounds or whatever. And we're like, I'm going to wait till I lose this 10 pounds before I get back on the stages. It's not about us. It's about it's about those people who are laying awake at night and they need to hear something to hold on to. They're praying for that solution that you have for them or that little glimmer of hope that you might have for them. And because of our ego or vanity, we're going to hold that back. It's not about us, right?
Boy, you'd be really good in this career. You say everything that's correct. Does that mean you've been doing this for a while?
I might have been in in the industry
Yeah.
for a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. You affirm a lot of things I talk about and a lot of things I believe in. So I really appreciate you saying all that. It's such a pleasure talking to someone like you who understands and affirms the kind of things that I've experienced and through all the people you work with. So kudos to you, Miss Antoinette.
Oh, thank you for that, Mikki. And I know you have a fabulous European trip coming up, and you
Yeah.
took out this time for us to you just bring it. So as we close, you already gave us so many really actionable steps, but is there one thing that you would say if you do nothing else, do this and then add the other things? We're here, you and I are making a pact to impact together and us together with the Speak Pact audience. What is that challenge that you would give them?
Yeah, I would give them a challenge to either get a coach, go to a school. It doesn't have to be mine, but I believe that outside perspective will help propel you a lot faster when you're trying to figure it out yourself. By the same token, joining the National Speakers Association or your local chapter, to get you really going or to be accountable to someone. And that's really what drives it.
And to find you, it's mickiwilliams.com, right?
Yep, simple. Yeah,
MIKKI,
yes.
mickiwilliams.com. You are
Yeah, and I
fabulous.
have there's a links on there to my TED Talk, to my speaker school, to my coaching, everything. So that's just the best place to go.
One stop
And
shop.
it's outrageous, so I prepare you ahead of time.
Well, I don't think anybody would be coming to you unless that's what they love it, right? That's what they
That's
want. They want the real
hopefully.
Mikki. All right, so
Yeah.
MIKKI Williams.com. You're
Yes.
fabulous. This has been just chock full of insights. Thank you for
Yes.
being with us today.
Thank you for the honor and the invitation. I loved it. You're a barrel of fun as well.
Woohoo! All right.
Bye bye.
Ciao, ciao for now.
Bye.